I realize that I'm chewing gum, but that probably isn't coming through at all, is it?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. I'm not worried then.
Our listeners love mouth noises. Welcome to the Unwritten Earth Symposium podcast, the podcast where I sit down with my good friend, Eppy Ravishal, to talk about truly true role-playing games of all forms, sizes, varieties, and flavors.
And it's the podcast, coincidentally, where I sit down with my good friend, Nathan Paoletta, to talk about these role-playing game endeavors of ours and other people and the things we enjoy about the hobby. We've got that down pat.
We have an expansive remit.
Mm-hmm. We are a symposium,
yes,
after all.
True.
Wait, did I say symposium?
You might have.
I think I did.
I'm going to leave that in.
Suppose. I like it. I mean, it feels like a role-playing thing. Suppose this happened at our symposium.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
A symposium is where you talk about things that are, and a symposium is where you talk about things that might be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We need to contact our various governments to change the name of our company now.
Right. Yeah. To make it even more difficult to know what to call the things we do.
Right.
Right.
A constant moving target. That is us.
That's us. Well, speaking of the things that we like, which we kind of were, you had a fun thing that you did recently with some other sword and sorcery folks.
Yeah. There's down at the sword and sorcery tavern inn.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good sword and sorcery
bazaar?
I was gonna say bar, but that bazaar, yeah. Caravansary, some gathering point. Anyways, New Edge Sword and Sorcery, which is a sword and sorcery magazine. They are crowdfunding. I believe their crowdfunding model is to run like a backer kit at the beginning of the year that pays for all the issues of that year.
Yeah, because this is their second or third kind of round of doing it.
Yeah, I don't recall, but the publisher contacted me and said, "Hey, would you like to run swords for us?" So I got to sit down with a few of their editors and writers and bang out a sword and sorcery tune, just jam.
Uh-huh.
It was great. I loved it. I recommend folks who are into that genre to go ahead and check out New Edge and back them, show them a little love.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did the usual, teach the game, and then we run through a whole session. And it was fun. We were inside the slowly rotting mouth of a giant.
Excellent.
Like a giant that died and laid down on a mountain. Mm-hmm. Some sort of town established themselves inside its mouth, and yeah.
Cool. All the things you'd expect.
Antics were had. Yeah. A gold tooth was stolen.
Excellent.
From the giant. So, spoilers.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if that is archived anywhere. Maybe I'll poke around and see if it's something that can be viewed.
Yeah, I suspect it is or will be. I heard the three letters, the VOD, or rather I saw it. Somebody mentioned it, so I don't remember who and what context, but...
Well, if that's out and I can find it, I will put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're doing good stuff over there. In particular, many of our artists I first saw in context of doing stuff for New Edge.
Yeah.
So it's performed a valuable service even outside of whatever literary value they're also doing. But no, that's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good art. If you're looking for Eidolons, that's another good source.
Cool. I don't have anything similar. I have nothing to report.
Nothing fun. That's fine.
We did have a good Playtest Tuesday last time.
Oh, yeah.
Last time we sat down to do that. It was nice. We had a pretty big quorum for generally what we've been getting, and it was more on the kick around ideas end and less on the play a thing end. And I think a couple people we were able to kick around some ideas and give some validation as well as some perspective, things to spur further work.
Consider.
Yeah. So that was good. It was nice.
I came away with that with a lot of energy. Our Discord did too. For those who aren't aware, check out our Discord. That's where we schedule the Playtest Tuesdays. That's where we hold it. I felt like after that one, there was a lot of energy on our Discord. Oh, because it was that, and our last episode released around that time. And a lot of people have been talking about the games that blew their minds. And there's a nice a nice spreadsheet of those. So this is good.
Shout out to Camilla for putting together a spreadsheet. I will again you can get to it through the Discord, or if it is public, I'll put the link in the show notes for that as well.
One of the legit scholars on our Discord,
real life scholar, putting together a kind of something to record, something to actually archive all of these cool ideas that people are having, or it's kind of like a set of references. It's kind of a corpus of prior art, if you will, for a lot of the kinds of games that we do. Well, I think that leads fairly nicely into what we're doing here with this episode, which is homework. That is specifically kind of playtesting-ish.
All right, so our homework, I'm sure you'll insert it here. I would like you to remember tomorrow your sailing game.
Okay.
Does that work?
I'll take it. I don't know what that means, but I'll try.
Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily have to make a thing that works or that's good. We just need to toy with it, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. I'll remember tomorrow my sailing game. What does the Bullwinkle and Rocky Lincoln Green party game? What is that?
All right. What does that look like? I'm excited about this. This is we're going to have a little time before the next episode.
Yeah, hopefully. We have a couple of weeks, so we'll work on it. But that's a fun assignment.
We don't need a complete project. We just need an overview of how we think we're going to put it together.
Yeah, just whatever we get to.
Sounds good.
And I just did, so our listeners just heard that.
The thing we do with this is we have an oral recorded record of what we decided, and then we describe what we remember the homework being, which is not how school works, but is how our school works, right?
Right. I think it's actually a valuable part of the process to say, okay, what did I actually take away from that conversation, as opposed to what is the literal written assignment.
Would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first? What's the...
Well, again, to go from memory, we each gave each other a dare, a challenge, if you will, to take one of our projects and kind of, what is it like if you do it in the style of, or as a hack of one of the games that we found inspiring. So in my case, you challenged me to do my sailing game with Gregor Hutton's Remember Tomorrow. And in your case, I challenged you to do Lincoln Green in the style of the Bullwinkle and Rocky role-playing party game, right? Right. Not the party role-playing game. Or did I get that backwards?
It is the role-playing party game?
It's the role-playing party game. And it's role-playing two words?
I got it right here. It's role-playing, the way it should be done.
I did consult it when I did the show notes, but I just don't remember.
No, you're right. It is two words, not even the dash. Okay. I got to make some adjustments here.
Yeah. So you need to adjust your entire approach to the words role.
Yes. I must change everything.
I can hear him doing find and replace on the other side of the screen.
Now, the question is, yes. Perfect. Okay.
In between then and now, we checked in about it, and I said, in order to make a fun podcast episode, aiming to have a little chunk of it that we could kind of like run the other person through as a kind of proof of concept or example of what we're thinking about, which I think I'm like 75% on maybe. So we'll see how it goes. But
well, that's fine, because I will say that I am less than that. I have a lot of pieces that I would have to construct to make that. The Bullwinkle and Rocky role-playing party game is a box full of toys, honestly.
Right. So actually, maybe this is a good place to start. In your case, I was kind of thinking that the approach of here's a bunch of mini games that are all kind of part of the same thing, but they don't necessarily, my understanding, because I haven't played, because I'm a fool and a knave. I've not played the Bullwinkle Rocky role-playing party game, but my understanding is that they're not linked. It's not like you play this game and it's going to mean this in this other game.
It's more like there are. Oh, I just realized I am in fact using this for Lincoln Green.
Yeah.
There are different layers of the game. So it's like, specifically the party game aspect. They're like, if all you have is you have a bunch of people interested in telling a story, here are some cards and how you tell the story, and that's it. And then they have like, oh, but you want to have characters, so here are your characters. Player characters, I should say. Like, there's a distinction there. All stories, well, not all stories, but most stories have characters. But then you have player characters. They're characters that the players are championing.
It's not that there's like mini games. It's more like there's kind of layers at which you can engage with the game, and they're not contingent. Exactly. You don't have to do A, then B, then C. It's more like, if your group of people is interested in this, do it this way. But if you're interested in that, do it that way. Which I thought was a good match for how you're already approaching Lincoln Green.
Yeah, it is. It is actually. There are a few times where I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. I have internalized some of this. As long as we're talking about it, I'll just go into it. I have designs for the pieces parts. Rather than like a playable game just yet. Yeah. But let me share those with you and how they kind of work together. All right, I am going to share screen because we're on the radio.
Yeah.
If I do that, that should work, right? Do you see this?
Yeah, I'm seeing the Marion and Robin role-playing party game. That's what I'm saying. Oh, this is what you have to change. I see. Yes,
I had to remove the dash, and also I realized that the rhythm, Robin and Rocky begin with R's, ROs even, and have the same syllables, so they go in the same spot.
Right.
Unfortunately, Marion and Bullwinkle, they have the same syllables, but not the same cadence. But it works, I think.
It's good for now.
It's good for now. The Marion and Robin role-playing party game, which I am so tempted to just do. Based on the Rocky and Bullwinkle, the Bullwinkle and Rocky role-playing party game. So in Bullwinkle and Rocky, you have spinners that are, there you go. They're just yes or no. They're kind of like the two-sided dice that are very lopsided because most of the time it's no. The most competent characters, I was trying to figure out, let's see here. I'm going to find my spinners. Is this all my spinners?
All my spinners gone.
Here we go. The most competent characters in the game are probably Peabody and Sherman, which I am now showing Nathan. They're the green, so they're about 75% chance of a yes. But like you could see, like our Rocky, our titular Rocky, is about 70 or 60% no.
Right, so it's one spinner with concentric circles, and there's some color coding to tell you if you're this character, look at this circle. If you're this character, look at this circle. And there are different proportions of yes and no on each. So it's very it's a nice design. Like it's a nice visual layout.
Natasha is almost 50% yes, which makes her the second most effective character in the game, which just makes sense. She is in the cartoon as well. All right, so I have a spinner. It took me, like, this was the thing. Like, late last night, I kept thinking, okay, concentric circles, that's the target.
You already have a good visual metaphor.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do what they did, where you broke the circle up into, like, quadrants and say, this is your yeses and this is your nos.
Well, and the other thing you already have going for you is you already have this whole coin thing, and coins are yes, no, right? So, like, you already have a couple of vectors of, like, similar thing going on.
Yeah, but for this one, I was like, maybe I would put a target in a box and drop a coin in it, right? Like, that actually sounds like fun, and it's a thing that I experimented with a few times. You want it to bounce, but not too much. There's a lot of things in there that don't quite work out. So what I did is I made a spinner, and instead of the concentric circles to be centered in the middle, we'll share a screenshot of this so people can see. Actually, we could probably just put this on our website somewhere, but I moved it so that you're just looking at like a quarter of the target, like the upper right-hand corner.
Yes.
Right? And then you have an arrow, and the arrow is centered in the middle. So you have like the bullseye, and then one ring, and then another ring. In this particular case, I have a red bullseye, an orangish yellow, gold second, and like a light blue third. And then there's the backdrop where you just miss. And now, ready for the magic?
Ready for the magic.
It spins.
So you have coded up a spinner.
Yes.
Nice.
It actually was far easier than I expected it to be. So that was fun.
Right, so you kind of have an unbalanced area where your spinner is going to land.
Yes. You're going to point to like the red, the gold, or the blue, or to the white, the empty space around, which is like a miss, which is the majority of the time. Although I will say, I think blue probably is the majority. I would have to spend some time doing some math with circles to see like what percentage. Yeah,
that's the thing is like this layout is very like it can give visually, it probably gives you a different sense of what you think the probabilities are than what they actually are, which you can use to your advantage.
Yeah. So my idea was you have a character. So okay, let's go back to how Rocky and Bullwinkle work. In Rocky and Bullwinkle, you play a character, and you have this, I'm going to now share with Nathan, a standee, which is your narrator standee. This is the GM that you pass around. You can tell that I'm such a...
Yeah.
Look at this. I haven't even...
You haven't even folded it.
Yeah, I should. But anyways. I can't bring myself to it. But I can destroy a legacy game, no problem. Like if somebody's like, hey, you want to play a legacy game? I'm like, yeah, let's set it on fire. Whatever it tells us to do. Anyways, so you gather into two groups, good guys and bad guys. You have a set of characters. I can absolutely make a set of characters. Like the Robin Hood myths have a lot of good characters in it, on both sides. Like obviously Robin Hood and Little John and Friar Tuck and Maid Marian and Will Scarlet and Much the Miller's Son and Arthur a Bland. There's a bunch of them. So that's great. You have like a whole crowd that you can make for the good guys. The bad guys, you have like the Sheriff of Nottingham. You have the Prince John. But you also have like Guy of Gisborne, who is like just in one of the stories, but like it's also one of the main villains in the 80s, Robin of Sherwood, and he's great. Guy of Gisborne in the original story is like a knight who wears horse flesh armor, like he wears leather armor made from a horse. I think it's to point out that he doesn't have like a lot of money, because like you wouldn't normally do that to a horse. That seems like or maybe that he's a jerk. Like I don't know, but he's horrible.
It's definitely a detail that sticks with you.
Yeah. And some of the illustrations have him wearing like the head of the horse, and that's pretty badass. But anyways, but you can add we can add to that cast a little bit to flesh it out.
Sure.
And then you split into two even groups, good guys and bad guys. You have a story, and in the storybooks, they have like a booklet, and I would do the same, that just has a list of stories, which are like your adventures. They start with the title. You say who's in it, and it's just a list of the characters. So that's kind of nice. You can have like you can have it indexed by the number of players you have available, or, that kind of thing. Then there's like a little section where they give you like 2 or 3 paragraphs that are the story so far. So what's going on in the world? That's great. Just read it out loud. We're good. Then, and here's a mind-blowing thing that isn't so mind-blowing these days, but was at the time. They tell you how it ends. They tell you how it starts and how it ends. Your job's the middle part. We're going to get to that ending. And that is good. That's real good for a Robin Hood game, right? Like there's a lot of different ways to do a Robin Hood game. Like Lincoln Green, I'm trying to do inspired by Robin Hood, you're forest outlaws, but like your fate is in your hands. You're not guaranteed to have these endings or anything like this. But for the Marion and Robin role-playing party game, you have like the archery tournament. Right. And of course it's going to end with Robin winning the archery tournament. That's foregone.
There's kind of like story beats, or like the basics that people would think this is the Robin Hood story. And you assemble those into this is where Yeah, of course, Robin's going to win the tournament, or of course, I mean, what's the scale? Because I mean, like, of course, like Robin's going to. This is just me pulling from my most absorbed Robin Hood media, which is Robin Hood Men in Tights. But like, of course, Robin is going to meet Little John's challenge and overcome him in order to join or take command of the Merry Men.
Oh, that's actually a very good point. There should be a little game that you play where you have like where you fight Robin to join the merry men, or the merry folk, as I like to call them in Lincoln Green. Oh, that's good. Yeah. All right. In Lincoln Green, I have stuff for that.
Yeah. You have like the kind of like challenges and stuff.
Yeah, and there's also like when you make a character, how you join the crew is like an important thing in your character creation. But for this game, it would be fun to just like let's play these characters meeting, and let's see who wins the fight, and then they're fast friends afterwards.
Right? Yeah. The end of it is, and they're fast friends, and they're all part of the merry band. Like that's the end. Yeah. How you get there can be different.
And then the other thing that they have, the other two things they have in this is goals. Separate goals for good guys and bad guys. Perfect.
That's good. Yeah,
it's great because you can make that orthogonal to the ending. Like, the merry folk in the archery tournament, that could be their goal is to get away scot-free, and the bad guy's goal can be to capture at least one of the merry folk, one of the outlaws. And then they have a thing that's like some great ideas, just like little things if you need a nudge or whatever.
Right.
So much of what I'm about to describe here, I'm just stealing that wholesale. Like that, I think a booklet of Robin Hood and Robin Hood-like tales to do with beginnings and endings and goals is perfect. When you play, then you have this narrator that you pass back and forth. In the Marion and Robin role-playing party game, there are two narrators. There's Alan Adale, who is the narrator for the good guys. And then I don't have a name for this character yet. There's not really one in the stories, but like I can imagine like the King's Fool or just some member of the King's Court whose job is to tell the story so that the king sounds like they're winning all the time. Right? Like you're trying to tell the king the news in a way that makes them sound like they're the heroes and they're winning. It's important. That's one of the mind-blowing things about this game, Bullwinkle and Rocky, was that like the narrator is supposed to take sides.
Right.
Because most of the time you fail, most of the time you spin and you get a no. And then the narrator gets to decide what that means. And having them on your side is important, right? So how the game plays is that you have a deck of cards, and everyone has a hand of these cards. And in the this is one of the things I haven't designed yet, but like showing this to Nathan here. These are basically in the Bullwinkle and Rocky. They're like, there's one here that's like upside down map, and you're lost, or a sawmill. That's a thing that shows up all the time in Rocky and Bullwinkle. Someone's brilliant idea. Sometimes they're characters. Sometimes they're like, one is a boulder, just a boulder, close shave, that kind of thing. Gonna do something very similar to that, like just like a bunch of things you're likely to encounter in a Robin Hood story. The back of the cards, though, is going to be different. In Bullwinkle and Rocky, they're just plain old backs. It's just like a normal deck of cards. Yeah. But I know that that's the cheap way to publish cards. You never want to go cheap when you make a role-playing game. So each back of these cards is going to be different. So what I thought was on the back of the card. Okay. Oh, I should explain. You have a hand of cards, and when you introduce the thing that's on the card, you play it. Right. If you're the narrator, doing that also means you pass the narrator to the other team.
Okay.
So that's how like that balance gets done. The idea is that in order to achieve your goal, you have to have all of the cards out of your hand and achieve the goal, right? So it's you want to get rid of your cards. You want to like encounter the things that are on your cards. The narrator has a lovely power where they get to like draw a new card and discard an old card. So if they don't like one, they can get rid of it. What I want on the back of these cards is just illustrations of medieval people as animals, because my foundational text is Disney's Robin Hood. I'm not doing Disney's Robin Hood, clearly. Mine's called the Marion and Robin role-playing party game. It has nothing to do with Disney. But it'd be fun to have like a bunch of illustrations of medieval people as animals, like a armadillo monk, or a bear that is I was going to say a blacksmith, but actually I want to go against the grain and just have like a bear tending some sheep, right? Or something like that.
The giraffe should be the blacksmith.
Yeah, exactly. And then also what you have on the back of the card is one of these sections over here, and one of these sections of the target. And the idea is that your character is like in Rocky and Bullwinkle, you have a section. Like Robin Hood probably just has the bullseye, which sounds intuitive because that's the smallest target to hit and less likely to actually hit it. It's fine. This is a thing. I like the idea that Robin just depends on the narrator putting him in the best position.
And also you can kind of like weight that with story, like the goal, like the outcome, like the end states, right? Because like if Robin is like, look, Robin's going to win the archery tournament. So like it's fine if Robin has a bunch of challenges and can't do anything right and has to rely on other people to support him. Because at the end of the day, he's going to win the archery tournament. So like that's fine.
Yes. So what I was thinking is the back of the card would have one of these bands on it. And if you look at the deck of cards that's sitting in the middle of the table, that there's a top one on it, and you're looking at the back of that. If you want to also succeed in the band that's on top of that card, you pick it up and you put it in your hand, right? So, or wait a minute, let's not do it in that order. Let's say you pick it up and put it in front of you, and then when you spin, and if you land on that band, it goes in, you succeed, and it goes into your hand. So your hand expands. You're further away from your goal, but you're better at doing the thing you're trying to do. So the backs
of the cards are another way of getting stuff into your hand, and then the fronts of the cards are things that you're playing out of your hand. So okay.
Yes, exactly.
I'm seeing a layout here where the spinner is a square that's the size of the long edge of the card, and then you take cards and you just put them next to the spinner.
Yes, that's good. See, this is why we do this here. This is good.
Giving you the opportunity to have multiple people have a card next to the spinner at the same time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like whatever side you're sitting on, the one that's on your edge of the spinner, you get if it lands on something like that. Anyway. Yeah. No, this is good stuff. There's two reasons why we have the animals on the back, the anthropomorphic medieval folk on the back. Right.
And the first reason is if you introduce one of those into the story, you can then take that card off of the deck and put it under the deck, right? Or maybe place it out to say, here's our cast of incidental characters. The mechanical reason for doing that is to remove, like, for instance, if you're, let's say you have the gold band, you only succeed on the gold band. If the top card of the deck is also the gold band, you don't want it there because it won't help you. It might, in fact, help your opponent. So if it's the gold band and there's like a turtle who's also like a charcoal maker or whatever, and you introduce Hurdle, then you can put that character out and say, this is just what, like, you can introduce this character. They exist in our story now. It's off the deck, so you can't pick it up and use that gold band. So it's another like way to like, but the other reason for that is for character creation, because I think character creation is shuffling the deck and getting dealt like maybe 3 or 4 cards, and you have to pick one card to represent the animal that your character is, one card to represent the career that your animal had before they were an outlaw, and one card to represent the band that is your successful band on the thing. Man, I think that'd be really fun. Like you get like a a deck of cards, and you're like, oh, I got a blacksmith who's also a giraffe, and I've got the bear shepherd, and I've got the turtle charcoal maker, and what did I say? The first one, armadillo monk, right? And you're like, I mean, I would definitely be tempted to just go with whatever combo I saw.
I think if it's illustrated on the card, I think you end up with, you pick two. One is the character from a card, and the other is the band.
Yeah. That's probably the best way to do it.
Either that, or you could break it up so that some of them have the like armadillo and the other ones have shepherd, and then you end up mix and matching anthropomorphic animal job and band. Then you have three cards. Anyway, yeah.
But I could stop sharing this spinner. I bet. I'm so pleased that I made that. Like I was like, At first I was like, I'm gonna just make I could make this target, this corner of the target with SVG real easy. I'm done. And I was like, oh, I bet I could put the arrow on there. Wait a minute. I bet I could make it spin. And then I was like, then I'm looking for fonts.
Right.
And then
and here we are.
Cool. The other thing I wanted to just point out, and then I'm done talking about this for now, because I really think I'm going to end up doing this. The back of the narrator card. So each character in Bullwinkle and Rocky has powers. An example power would be here's a good example. Rocket J Squirrel. This is the titular Rocky. One of his powers is amazing trust. Rocky isn't dumb, but he has amazing faith in the goodness of mankind. He never thinks bad thoughts about anyone unless there is a really good reason. When there's a reason to be suspicious, like when Boris, in one of his many disguises, says, "Allow me to introduce myself," or when someone pushes him off a cliff, Rocky must spin his spinner to realize that they weren't nice people.
That's good.
So, like, great powers. I love them. Probably would, like, embrace that. But the powers on the narrator card, they're beautiful. The draw and discard, which I mentioned before, and then it says, ask people questions like, and then it's a list of questions. And honestly, this feels so powered by the apocalypse. Tell people to spin, and it's like when they're having disagreements or when they want something. Again, this is almost like making a soft or a hard move kind of thing. Describe what happens as a result of someone playing a card, as a result of a spin, or as a result of someone's choice. And at the end, it says, if I played a card, pass it. If not, then do the draw card as above and keep going. It's a great way of like, this is your pace. This is your beat. This is how we keep the story going. We just do the things on the back of the narrator card over and over again and pass that around. But I think what would be fun, having good guy and bad guy narrator cards, is to have like the example questions be different and have just like a little tiny differences between how they behave. Be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So there it is.
Cool.
The Marion and Robin role-playing party game.
All right. Sounds like we got somewhere. Yeah,
we did. All right, let's see what we got with you here.
Okay, all right.
Remember sailing.
Yeah, I don't have a good I don't have a good mashup title. The working title for the game is Fair Winds and Following Seas, which is a phrase.
Oh, nice.
A sailing phrase of like good, like have a good sail.
Yeah, good fortune.
Yeah, good fortune. I don't know. So right now the title is the
Red Sky in the Morning.
Fair Winds and Following Seas X Remember Tomorrow hack is what the title of my document is. So anyway, right. So the concept for this game is that a small group of friends or family or whatever is going on a nice weekend sail on a small sailboat. But sailing is inherently dangerous. This isn't a game where necessarily things are going to happen. Like you're not necessarily going to end up like shipwrecked on an island surrounded by sharks, but you're not that's not going to happen, depending on how things go. Right?
Yeah.
You could also just have like a slice of life kind of gentle sail where some like tensions come up, but then they are resolved.
Right.
And have a nice weekend.
An indie film, if you will.
Right. So the goal here isn't to have so unlike what you're doing, I think the the goal of this game isn't necessarily to have a certain kind of story. It's to create this kind of vibe of like the tensions that are just inherent to sailing. Whether that's anything anyone wants, I don't know, but it's kind of my starting point for it. And so Remember Tomorrow is nice because that game is all about creating a certain kind of story. So it means I had to think about like, what am I actually getting? What is this? How is this going to help me? And functionally, I think it's helping me on a very mechanical level. And then if I can get that sorted out, then I can kind of go back to, but is it still hitting the vibe or not? Right? Like, this is definitely a game that might end up just being a different kind of game than what I thought about when I started, which is fine. That happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the key things that I'm following from Remember Tomorrow, one is the round robin character thing. So dropping the GM player divide, it'll be everyone's a player, and everyone makes a character that is part of the crew on the boat, and everyone makes a hazard. And those are just in a pool of things, of characters and hazards. So kind of the kind of like individual characters and factions is the, what I'm playing off of there. You need to have a captain. So one of the characters has to be the captain of the boat, which just means the person who knows how to sail and who probably owns the boat, right? Because this is all the idea here is you're on like a 30-foot like single master. You're not like on a grand, like a galleon, like going off to the new world to the silver mines or something. Like you're leaving from the yacht club and you're going to be back on Sunday night. So, cause everyone has to go to work the next day, right? But the captain's the captain, right? The captain's the one in charge and who knows how to sail. And then everyone else can be whatever. I have this idea of roles. You have to have a captain, and then everyone else is either a mate, which just means someone who also knows how to sail, crew, which is someone on the boat who can follow instructions, or a lubber, which is someone on the boat who is not expected to do anything. Right?
Yes.
The other big thing I'm bringing in is conditions. So Remember Tomorrow, your characters have lots of conditions that can be kind of toggled on and off depending on the events of play. In that case, it's like, you might start the game with your character being angry and hesitant, and then over the course of the game, one of those might, those conditions might change. You might gain some, you might lose some. You can become coerced, you could become trapped, you can become hunted, etc. So there's the idea of positive and negative conditions in that game. So I'm just bringing the idea of conditions generally as a tool for all the other things I'm trying to do. So you have your characters, and then you have your hazards. Hazards, I'm still keeping this idea of narrow and wide. So a narrow hazard is something that is kind of specific and like it's either kind of clear whether you're going to deal with it or what the problem's going to be and how to deal with it. So like replacing a broken line is a narrow the broken line is a narrow hazard, or sailing on a specific course or something like that. And then a wide hazard is something that's more like is just a bigger deal. It has more potential ramifications. So it could be a storm or making anchor in a place you've never been before. Cause like there's some places that just throwing the anchor out isn't necessarily going to stop your boat from moving. Right. Like there's nuance.
Well, that today I learned.
So by the way,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm a lubber.
So, yep.
Not a fighter, I'm a lubber.
So you make a pool of characters, you have a pool of hazards, and you do need at least 3 characters. So, this is kind of a group game. I think you could play it 2Z with a shared group of characters. You'd go around and you'd make 2 characters each, right? So you'd have a pool. You need at least 3 characters because someone on the boat needs to be ready, someone on the boat needs to be willing, and someone on the boat needs to be able. These are not your character stats like in Remember Tomorrow. Your character is defined by your conditions is pretty much all you have for character definition. But the boat needs these 3 things. Needs to have a ready, and willing, and an able crew person.
And they cannot be combined in a single, like, it's okay, got it.
Yeah. I mean, there might be like a special thing about like the captain probably like might be able to step in for any of them, like that kind of thing. I'm not quite at that level of definition yet, if that's necessary.
But that seems like a neat way. The brain is tingling with the possibilities, which is good.
Okay,
this is good. Go on.
Yeah. So again, similar, importing the scene structure. There's 3 kinds of scenes. You go around in turn. On your turn, you pick a scene. You can pick a cruise scene, which is where the boat is just cruising. And those are kind of slice of life. And what you can do during those is change conditions. So you kind of pick a scene goal, like how Remember Tomorrow works. You play it out, and you can either gain a new condition for the character you are playing, the one you've picked for the scene, or you can aim to give someone else a condition. And again, conditions, there's not a hard line, but they're like, some are generally, good and some are generally not so good. So like some of the example conditions I have are like, you can be friendly or relaxed, but you can also be queasy or exhausted. So there's room to like play with those. So there's that. There's planning scenes. That's where you are making a plan for something. Something is going to come up that you know about or that you think is going to come up. And that is where you can adjust who's ready, who's willing, and who's able. And then hazard scenes is a hazard happens. We love game design. We love 3s. So everything's 3s. There's 3s everywhere here. So basically the hazards have stats instead of characters. So a narrow hazard basically has 3 stats: correct, quick, and efficient, right? And that's how it can be dealt with. And that's in the sense of, if you don't deal with it correctly, this happens. If you don't deal with it quickly, this happens. If you don't deal with it efficiently, this happens.
I think I know the difference between quick and efficient, but I just want to efficient is less use of your other resources that aren't time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So there's specific conditions attached to these. So if you don't do it correctly, then your boat has conditions as well. So if you don't do it correctly, then your boat becomes fragile because you have to jury rig something. If you don't do it quickly, it wastes time. You gain the condition delayed. And if it's not done efficiently, then it's done in a wasteful manner. You gain the condition wasted material. So those are specific conditions that you're which I think make it pretty clear what the difference is when you see like what the outcome is, right? And then the wide hazard is safe, correct, and easy. So if it's not done safely, your boat becomes endangered. If it's not done correctly, you gain the condition damaged. And if it's not done easily, then it's stressful, and someone on the boat becomes stressed as a condition. It's the only time one of them goes to a person instead of the boat. And then so mechanically, what you're doing is it's all D10s. Again, this is using Remember Tomorrow. So it's all D10s. It's roll under. And the idea is that the narrow hazard, this might be too, like at this point, it might not matter because this is like pretty far away from my original kind of mechanic idea, which is fine. Maybe that was a bad idea. It's time to abandon it. That happens. So for the narrow hazard, the 3 stats are the same number. And then you pick which character is addressing which one. Ready, willing.
Okay.
Is the person who's ready, are they dealing with are they working to do it correctly, or are they working to do it efficiently?
Right.
And this is all just narrative, kind of positioning and stuff where how do you want to sort that out? The number is all the same. It's a narrow challenge. So it's very specific. You know what you need to do. Do you do it or not? You all roll a D10, seeking to roll under. If you roll under, it's a success. You don't get that condition. You roll over. You do get that condition, right?
If you tie, is there something?
Tie, it's roll under, equal to or under.
Okay. Yeah, just want to make sure.
The thing is, if you fail all 3, then in addition to getting all 3 conditions, you also have to add a new wide hazard to the hazard pool. So totally blowing a narrow hazard sets you up for a bigger problem, right? Is the idea.
Yes, that's good.
And then a wide hazard, when you make it, you actually you have a pool of points, and you set those 3 things to be different, to be the safe, correct, easy. Whoever makes the hazard makes those different numbers. And then instead of picking ready, willing, able, I'm doing this, the three or on behalf of the three characters, if you have less than three players, you roll your dice first, and then you decide. So you can figure it out how to deal with it most, you know, to avoid them as much as possible. But the numbers are different. My idea is that I think what this does is in the moment. So the narrow challenge is very procedural. It's like, oh, we need to get 6s or less, right? So you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. Let's roll. All right. How did we do? While the wide challenge is, all right, you know, this is a 9, this is a 3, and this is a 7. All right. Okay. We have a 6, an 8, and a 5. What are we blowing and how? You have that sense of like, okay, who's doing what? How are we doing this to make the best out of the situation? I think that'll be the vibe with doing that. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That will require some play testing.
Yeah, you need the experience.
I feel like those will be palpably different experiences. And then similarly, if you fail all 3, you add a new narrow hazard. So it's like something that normally wouldn't be a problem is going to become a problem because you had to deal with this bigger problem. So that's the back and forth of those. And then the idea is that you play until you've gone through all the hazards. So you could potentially just go through as many as you have players, right? Because you all added one to the pool. But if things start to escalate, I think they then will continue to, right? You could end up in like in kind of like an oscillating like loop where each problem creates a new problem if you keep blowing rolls. So that's kind of the question of maybe it needs to be hazards +1. I don't know. Or you just set the number to how long you want to play, something like that. But right now, you play till you've gotten through all the hazards. And then the hazards that come from, and then the conditions that come from the hazards have specific things that they mean. So it's like you can get delayed once, and then if you get delayed twice, it means you are not going to make it to your destination on schedule. You have to have a planning scene to decide what to do. You can get damaged once. If you get damaged twice, your boat is damaged in a way that you cannot repair while you're still on the water. And that's going to make hazards harder. It's going to start increasing their target numbers or lowering their target numbers, and similar for the other ones. So the idea is you kind of get like the first time you go through things, nothing is dire. But if you go through things again and you're like, oh, my choice is to give us a second delayed check or an injury check, which is those how the dice have fallen with this particular hazard mean we have to pick one. So which one are we doing? You know, there start to become some consequences to how the dice fall as you play longer. But if you have good dice, you're just going to have like a nice sail where you deal with a couple little issues.
Yeah, it's a nice, pleasant.
Yeah. So this is definitely a lot more like of a playable framework than what I had before. Like I could sit down and play this one.
Right. Yes.
So that's good. I'm a little unsure about whether it's still capturing that like feeling that I was thinking about. But like I said, that could get brought back in some other way if this is a solid foundation. That's kind of where I landed with all this.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. This is exciting. I like where you're going with this. I was super excited about what I was doing with my thing, and I'm like, I know also that this isn't going to be Lincoln Green, right?
Sure, yeah.
I was. What's the word? Gedankenspiel, right? Like it's a thought experiment kind of situation. But I publish this anyways. Like this might, know, like this.
That doesn't mean you're not doing Lincoln Green if you decide to do this. Yeah.
And I was just thinking about this because like what I did followed kind of a similar route to how when I get excited about a game and I'm like, okay, I want to dig into it. I want to find out like what's making it tick, right? I often do exactly what happened here where I'm like, what's another thing I can do with this game? Another setting, another type of scenario, another genre or whatever. I think a lot of times we will just call, like people will call that like a reskin or, like not, or maybe that's what we say when we say hack. Our terminology is not specific in this area, but like the idea of like, this is 90%. Like this thing that I did is at least 90% Bullwinkle and Rocky role-playing party game, right? Like I added a few things on top of it that maybe just make it a little more complex than it needs to be, and I'll probably have to drop some things out of what was the original. But the benefit to that, and this is the thing, and I think this is part of the magic behind Powered by the Apocalypse, for example, the benefit there is that you've got a system in place handling all of the stuff, and you're refactoring, you're moving away from what the original system is, but you can do that moving part by moving part, right? Like because it, like you said at the end there, you were like, this feels more I'm not going to be able to quote you because I don't have a memory like that, but like more playable than what you had originally. This
is something where I can sit down and play it, and when I hit those rough edges of like, oh, I'm not sure how this is supposed to work, in that moment I can be like, well, in Remember Tomorrow, here's how it works, so let's just do that,
right?
And then you find out, is that right or is that not right for what you're doing? But at least it's something, and not just like, okay, now I have to figure something out right this second to like bridge this gap.
Exactly. And like, I love doing this. Like, this is a thing that I very much enjoy doing.
That's why we have this podcast, to be honest, is to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's weird that it took us over a year to get to it. I think what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to advocate for doing this. Like, like people find a game, like, I feel like this is both fundamental enough that I don't need to say it. I'm trying to teach baseball, and I'm like, what you want to do is catch the ball, right? Like, what you want to do is catch the ball, right? Like, just start off. This is like a fun way to start off. Grab a game you like and just change a few things to match whatever you want, and then just keep changing, and you'll end up pulling parts out from underneath it or whatever.
Yeah,
I really enjoy doing that. And it's insightful.
Yeah, you can learn a lot about you can learn a lot about the game that you're working with. Like, this is, I'm really seeing why this works this way. But you can also learn about what you are trying to do, right? Like, I'm kind of in the position where I'm like, okay, I think this is good. I'm excited about how this works. I have a question about whether it's what I want this game to be. So like, by pursuing it, that's not me abandoning the first idea. It's me discovering how much daylight is there between my first idea and what I'm actually getting. And then do I end up, these are two different games, right? Like, okay, this is a game. It does this. This other idea I had still doesn't have a game. That's a functional thing to discover through the process.
Yeah. Way back in the day when I was working on Swords, there was like a 2-week period there where I had to stop designing and working on Swords. I had to stop thinking about it, and I had to hack Tunnels and Trolls as much as possible. And Tunnels and Trolls and Swords Without Master don't share a whole lot of DNA. Like, there's not a lot between the two that but like my brain had to like explore what I was doing in a completely different mechanical setting to understand what I wanted to get out of it, right? Like I had to be like, I got to go here for a moment. Like, I just need to think about it in this context to understand. I don't remember what I was trying to work out at the time. This would be a great story if I did. I do not remember what I was trying to work out. I know that early on, I had, I think the discovery phase was the one that it took me the longest to come up with. So I was just trying all sorts of things to figure out, what is that? What am I trying to do here? What am I trying to accomplish? And so, I was feeling pretty wildly, but, that doesn't mean it wasn't productive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I end up kind of absorbing stuff and then kind of forgetting why I did, but it's like, but it works now. There was with Annalise, the core of that, like the stuff in that game is me just really doing some work on Other Kind dice, Other Kind being another Vincent thing. I'll link, there's still a post about Other Kind dice just as a concept. He worked out this idea for a game called Other Kind that I don't think ever saw release or anything. how they work kind of ended up in Cyrun. Like Meg basically did it for Cyrun.
One to look at.
But it's just this idea where you have and you see that DNA come through to moves, right, in Apocalypse World, where it's like you have a set of outcomes. I think for other dice, it's like you have 3 potential outcomes. I think they're coded already. It's like you can do that kind of like this with the with these hazards, where it's like you can do something like, I don't know, quickly, safely, or effectively, or something like that, right? And then you roll 3 dice, and then you assign them to the 3 things, and you map. Now, I am now going to decide, okay, I got 2 successes and 1 failure, so that means I can only do 2 of the 3 things, right? And you decide how to do it. So then in Annalise, what I did was I was like, what if you take those outcomes, and instead of those being hard-coded by the game, you negotiate them every time you do the mechanic, right? Like every time you roll the dice, you are first you negotiate, okay, here are the potential outcomes of what could happen in this moment. And a big part of the game is talking out, okay, this is what I want to happen. Okay, this is what I want to happen. Oh, those 2 things can't happen at the same time. So let's figure out how to phrase them so that they could both happen or could neither happen.
Right.
And that's not like busy work. That's like figuring out what your story is. And then the dice tell you what path you end up going down, and you get to assign them. And there's more to it. There's a little tiny tactical element to it. But anyway, the point is, I just took a mechanic from someone else and then figured out how to make it work for my game. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And oftentimes you'll take it and you'll pound it, take it to that anvil and just pound it out of any recognition whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you're not doing it right away, right? Like you start with it and you're like, this is, people playing this are going to see that this is, other kind or whatever. And then after a little while, it's like, no one knows.
Right. Yeah.
Like this is other kind, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's the whole history of what we're doing is just stealing from Vincent. I mean, stealing from other designers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are. I got a question for you then. Should we figure out some kind of homework for the next episode?
Probably.
Do we want to continue along these lines?
That makes sense, like in terms of like what we're theoretically trying to do right now.
Right, yeah. So I think like a fun homework thing is just, where are you now?
Yeah.
We'll progress our designs a little more. I mean, I think by next time I probably will have something that we can play on a Playtest Tuesday or something like that. And so we'll have a topic for the next episode where we'll talk about something. But our homework is like an update of like, how far have we got along? What have we done? Or,
Well, yeah, the assignment is continue working on your project, right? And then the homework that we will talk about on the show will be progress report. Here's where I'm at. Yeah, it'll just be a check-in. It won't be a let's go over everything.
Full episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for our next episode, we will check in about progress on these 2. I think we're both excited to continue on these projects. So we'll keep working on them.
Yeah.
We'll check in about them on our next episode, but we'll also talk about something else. Maybe a good time now to mention the mailroom channel in the Discord, because I think we have talked about it on the Discord, but other than just a passing, I'm making it right now a couple episodes ago, I don't think we've specified that if you have questions or comments for us, as opposed to just go to the Discord, which you can do, there is a specific mailroom channel in the Discord that is for submitting a question or comment that we will address on the show. So there's a couple in there now.
I've already violated the social contract. Somebody asked a question and I answered it, and then I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to answer this on the podcast, not in the mailroom channel.
But here's the thing. Not everyone who listens to the show is on the Discord. So we will also answer it on the show. And then everyone gets to benefit from the letters that come into the symposium mailroom.
Discord.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the Discord.
That's exciting.
Yeah. But it's an exciting time. We're in that we've talked about, a long time ago, we talked about like the creative rhythm, like the rhythm of having lots of projects going on. Right. And it's like, so we're in we're on the production end of a big project, which means that, we're now freed up to do like the initial stage creative work.
Flights of fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in both of those phases right now, which is always very nice. And we're coming into the spring, so it feels very, we have that positive springtime growth energy.
Renewal.
That renewal starting to come up.
Yeah. For the 2 weeks it's spring.
Yeah. Well, I guess that brings us to it. As just discussed, you can come drop into the Discord with any questions for us specifically, go into the mailroom, but just general talking about games and non-games alike. We're happy to host. You can email us at provost@unwrittenearths.com or find all of our contact info at the website unwrittenearths.com. Continue to like and subscribe, I guess. If you're not subscribed to the show, however you're listening to it, consider subscribing. If you like it, you'll get these episodes every 2 weeks. And if you also come join us in the Patreon, you'll get an episode every week, as the in-between weeks are the plus expenses week. So it goes regular episode plus expenses. Regular episode plus expenses. And that's where we talk about stuff that isn't games, except when we still talk about games. But that's our long running, we just like to talk about stuff show that is exclusive to our patrons. I think those are all the things I usually say. The Unwritten Earth Symposium podcast is by us. Go us. Our music is by Will Yobst. Thank you, Will. Head on over to goodlookpress.co for Will's games. And that brings us to our ending question, which is, Eppy, this episode is pretty good evidence, but have we made a game yet?
Oh, we are so close. We're at multiple games.